The connection between Saskatchewan people and the land often means that our roots run deep, from one farm to the next, from one town to the next. The words common ground have never been more true. To foster healthy land, healthy farms, healthy food, and healthy people. This circular model of regenerative agriculture transforms the entire process from farm to table and creates healthier communities. Through Farmland Legacies, I had the opportunity to meet Trent and Kathy Watts, who are two such landowners, in order to learn about their story, values, and their decision to leave their land in trust.
So the story of this land begins long before I was born, when my grandfather came to this country in 1905 and was a homesteader. As a prairie boy growing up in this land, I became aware of the beauty of it and also the significance of it. I remember distinctly walking to this little coulee that we see just off to the side, where there was always, has been, and still are beaver in there. And as kids, we would bring our axes and we would chop a hole in the beaver dam and be absolutely amazed that the next day when we came back, the beavers would have plugged it up. And so we spent hours exploring this land. And I don't know what happens when you're growing up on the land, but somehow those roots of those grasses get into your toes and they seem to grow right up through you, and you become part of this land. I'm not exactly sure when my great uncle Tom, who was my grandfather's brother, came to homestead, but it would have been a very similar time. And so he homesteaded on the land which we are now on, and was an important part of this story. And so time passes, and as a boy, I do a lot of work on this land. My cousin and I would pick rocks. We would help my uncle move the cattle from one part of the land over to the school section, which is over not too far from here, which my Uncle Tom was able to rent as pasture for his cows. So I remember as a boy being very involved with my great uncle Tom. And so I left that to go to university and kind of not be so much physically a part of this land, and then started a bit more of an intellectual discovery of what important part of our biosphere native grasses are, realizing that as you look over history, we've lost something like 90-some% of all of the long grass prairie and the short grass prairie that covered this land, where the bison roamed and the native people hunted, and this land provided, and it continues to provide.
I was really from a city, I wasn't from a farm, so everything I've learned about farm, I've learned through this land and through my husband and other life experiences. Well, it's been perfect. It's actually, we really enjoyed the process. We've really enjoyed working with Farmland Legacy, but since that decision has been made, we've just kind of stepped back from it because it felt like a journey that was done, and we now move on to other things in our lives. So I guess we have the confidence and the just a sense of feeling really secure that the decision was good, it was the right decision, and now it's been passed to someone else to look after it. And I think the feeling that I had about it all, is to be that we became philanthropists, but in a very special way, because it's not like we own millions of dollars of anything. So it's a really special feeling to be able to gift something, and it helps you to see how you can make gifts all the time.
Farmland Legacy's mission is really to hold land in trust and to get land available to younger people so that each generation is not having to pay for it over and over again. Putting the land in trust has a number of protections. It helps younger people have access. It can help a family maintain the integrity of that land and protect it from family breakup. It will ensure that that land, if something unexpected happens, to an operator or a donor, is going to stay for its intended use and not just be traded like a commodity for a short-term gain. It'll foster a more long-term relationship with the land, and I think it will help for people to begin to understand the importance of treating it as a resource and not a commodity. If you're interested in leaving your land as a legacy, it begins with a process of creating a land management agreement that would then come before our Board of Directors. Our Board of Directors is required to meet 3 to 4 times a year to govern the organization. It's also responsible to report annually to CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, and our financial statements must be audited by a chartered accountant each year. These statements are also available online, so if you want to do any research on us before contacting me, feel free. It's public information, and I can assure you of privacy and confidentiality in all of our discussions leading up to a land proposal. Farmland Legacies is a prairie organization based right here in Wynyard, Saskatchewan. It currently is registered in Alberta and plans to be in Manitoba so that it covers all the prairie provinces.